Comics of 100 years ago, sometime in the autumn of 1925. It's Gasoline Alley by Frank King. We see somebody hanging leaves on a clothesline. Well, it must be Mrs. Jack Frost, because this is the house of Mr. and Mrs. Jack Frost. And Jack Frost sits in a field of stalagmites outside his house, smoking his pipe and watching. Walt and Skeezix sit in an autumn field with some patches of snow, and Walt says to Skeezix, "No, Skeezix, things are not dead. They're only sleeping, and they're almost ready to wake up." It starts to rain, and Walt holds Skeezix under an umbrella. He says, "See, here come the warm spring rains, which will sink down to the roots of the trees and plants and flowers. Then when the sun comes around, they'll begin to open their eyes." The field is now sprouting, and Walt says, "Now the buds on the trees burst into a million tiny leaves, and the green things start to push their way through the soft earth." "Bug," says Skeezix. It's now fully spring, and Walt leans back against the tree. Skeezix sits next to him. Walt says, "Isn't it this glorious, Skeezix, to be able to lie out here in the early summer and forget the cold winter and the raw winds of spring?" The grass is now grown very high, and Skeezix says to Walt, "Look, Uncle Walt, Skeek's got a lot of apples." "Yes, sir, and we're going to have sweet corn for supper." So this must be corn stalks and not tall grass. They sit together and watch the seasons continue to change, and Walt says, "Now it's autumn, the time when summer rainbows fall into the trees and tint their leaves 1,000 colors." They look at the dried corn stalks and pumpkins growing between them, and Walt says, "Jack Frost has done his work. The leaves have fallen, yet it's all beautiful, isn't it?" "Uncle Walt make Skeeks another jack-lantern?" asks Skeezix. Now the field is covered with snow as Walt carries Skeezix away. They're both wearing sailor hats. Walt says, "And now winter comes along and lowers his coverlet of snow over all leafy things and puts them to sleep again, and another year is done." "Skeeks roll a snowman just like Uncle Walt," says Skeezix.